Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Nicholas Plays Ring Fit Adventure. Yay, we're back. And I think this is day 6, episode 5, episode 6, event 0x05. I really hate myself for that, for making the numbering system so complicated. And if I skip a day, the day is like 1 plus over the episode, and then so it's 2 plus over the event. Anyway, it gets complicated. And today we want to talk about a few things. One thing is that I said something about fencing and strategy game yesterday. I didn't finish that thought off, so I want to sort of continue on that. The other thing is I actually didn't sleep early enough on Monday, and so it really has a negative effect on my whole life. And then I want to make a note of that, make sort of like a public announcement of that. And what I hope is that in the future, from now on, right, I can make better effort when it comes to sleep early enough that so I can get an early start next day. I usually sleep around 9 or 10 and then getting up around 5 or 6. So I have about a 15, 16 hours day. Even if I take like a 30 minutes or an hour nap, it's still a very long day, right? Let's start with sleeping and staying up late thingy. The reason why I stayed up late was because I was binging a TV show on Netflix, an animated TV show on Netflix. It's called Cyberpunk Edge Runner. To be honest, it's a very, very good show. Love everything about that show. A bit sad with the ending, but I wouldn't spoil it for you. You just have to watch it yourself if you haven't. Strongly recommend, and definitely not a kid friendly show. So if you're a parent, watch it yourself. Um, yeah, the show was fantastic, but my decision to binge it in one night. I mean, it's not long, it's only 10 episodes, and then each episode is like 20 minutes long, so it's about 3 hours. But I started really late. I started around 9 o'clock. I was like, oh, I still got an hour before my normal sleep time. I want to watch something to chill, to relax, so my body is prepared to sleep. That was dumb of me. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have started something I haven't watched and I wasn't sure whether it's gonna be super engaging, exciting, or something like that. I probably should have watched something a bit more boring. Maybe find some YouTube videos, maybe find some TV shows that I have watched before and I have better control. I personally, like previously, I have talked about this, right? I am not so great with self control. This is also why I started this whole series, right? I was gonna say season. I was thinking this is not a TV show. Anyway, I'm not particularly good with self control. This is why I started this season, so I can make better efforts. What's wrong with make and better? Whenever I say it wrong today. I can make better efforts when it comes to maintaining a healthy lifestyle, maintaining a exercise regime or routine, whatever you call it, right? I think with this series, I'm doing pretty well, apart from apart from Monday night, because yesterday was Tuesday, and Tuesday wasn't really good. I didn't feel very energetic. I didn't get up early enough, so I had a late start. I made some video editing and then I started working. While I was working, I wasn't really feeling very energetic. So, not 100% at work, I, excuse me, which I try as much as I can to be at, say, at least 80 or 90% at work, but I couldn't do that yesterday. I had to take some time off. And that was all because I didn't sleep early enough the day before. So the lesson is for myself, next time, sleep early enough. Oh, right. Yesterday, right? Not only the morning and afternoon wasn't very productive from my own standard. I slept around 5, yes, 5 p.m. yesterday. And then I slept until 12, like 12 in the morning, 12 a.m. So, and then I woke up for like 2 hours. I slept a bit more until like 5 just now. So not only it destroyed my day, it also meant that I actually didn't get much time in the night to do the things I love to do, like making videos or editing the existing videos. Didn't get to do any of that. So a huge, huge regret for yesterday, just yesterday, not like a all-time regret, right? Anyway, I think I have talked enough about that. I'm sure, maybe, I don't know. Let me know. Maybe you feel like I have also talked enough of that as well. Let's get back to the other topic, the one about fencing and strategy game. As I said before, I really love playing Slay the Spire. Just now, even when I was in my bed, I was watching someone playing Slay the Spire online because I was lazy. I didn't want to get up. And then I was thinking, right, oh, I could watch someone play the game, or I could get up and record myself playing the game and have some fun, like in the meantime. And that's kind of why I got myself up. Somehow we got back to the first topic. Anyway, yes, Slay the Spire strategy game. If you don't know, Slay the Spire is a deck building game. Some people call that deck builder. Basically, you start with 10 basic cards. It has four different characters. Each of them have a different set of cards they can get. They have different colors, right? You have a warrior with red cards, you have a mage with blue cards, something like that, right? And you start with 10 basic cards. That's always the same. And in that game, when you go through a level or after you fight some enemies, you get a chance to pick new cards. You also have the ability to get rid of cards in the game. So it's a deck building game, right? You build out your deck and then you play them. It's different from most of the deck building game because most of the game, right, whenever you get into a run, right, your deck is already fixed. However, in Slay the Spire, you build your deck while you are playing the run. So that's a bit different. So how does all this relate to fencing, right? Fencing, if you haven't played fencing, right? Fencing might seem it's really quick. Like each combat almost finishes. I haven't watched many of them, but I assume, right, from what I see, it's really quick. It's really within a minute. And if you don't know this game too much, like I didn't know anything about this game a few weeks ago before I started my fencing sort of journey with my girlfriend together. I sort of know it's kind of like a martial art, and there are different techniques and different play styles, but I didn't know much about it. That's about it. Yeah, it's really hard to. Oh, this is really hard to explain, isn't it? Okay, let's talk about my learning experience. So there are moves in fencing. They're about from my wonderful coach John, from what he taught me, right? There are about 1,000 moves like that he will teach us. And in the end, we probably would have, say, about 50 moves we're really familiar with. That's like our favorite moves, and that forms sort of our play style or play styles, right? And so these basic moves, right, they're kind of like the cards you have in Slay the Spire. Not only that, these moves you have, similarly, your opponents have their own favorite moves as well. And in Slay the Spire, different enemies have a different pattern of how they would attack. And in that game, knowing the patterns, knowing how these enemies would attack, right? This kind of information is crucial to your survival, especially if you are climbing the ascension in Slay the Spire. Ascension is basically modifiers that makes the game even harder. So you start with Ascension 0, and if you finish that, you can start to climb from 1 to 20. 20 being the hardest, 0 being the easiest, right? And I was talking about the moves and how, right, knowing how your opponent would act in the next round. Slay the Spire is a turn-based game, but we can apply the similar concept in fencing as well. Fencing is real time, but still, everyone is trying to make a move. Whether or not they want to actually execute that move in the end is a different story. You can, as my coach John liked to call, lie to your opponent. So you can try to make a move, right? But you still have to make that move to make your opponent believe you are making that move. So basically, you can think of fencing as a turn-based game, right? Even though it's very very fast, right? Very real time. There's no one saying, okay, next move, okay, next move, okay, next move. That all happens in your head. And what's fascinating about fencing was that information in this game has, how do I express this, right? As a beginner learning this game, what you think about is how fast or how many moves I know, and how fast I can execute them, and how fast I can defend myself from my opponent's moves. That's one side of the story. You can be super fast, you can be super accurate with your moves, but there are more things involved in fencing. As I said, information is one of them, because you don't actually have to execute a move you are making right now. You can lie to your opponent. For example, you can make a move to make yourself looking like you're attacking the left shoulder of your opponent. However, while you are making such move and your opponent can see that, they will try to block your attack, right? They will move their saber to defend their left shoulder. While they are doing that, you can move your saber in the opposite direction. So rather than attacking their left shoulder, you are attacking their bottom right torso. And this move is called, whenever I think about this move's name, I either think deflect, no, drawback, no, it's not that. Oh, it's called disengage, right? My coach would be so proud of me knowing the game, knowing the move's name being disengage after I try 3 times. He'll be so proud. Yeah, he will be, what's the word? Like when you shit talk about someone else. I forgot. Ugh. Yeah. My brain is not in the right place to find the words today. I don't know why. But anyway, in the game, right, in fencing, there's a lot going on, and then you have the basic moves. You can select a range of moves when not that you can select them in the real time, right? You sort of have to be really familiar with all the moves, and you know, like, these moves are what I'm good at, these moves are what I'm bad at. You have to know, like, your own balance, your own trade-offs. You also have to know at least a little bit about your opponent, how they act or react, and how you can trick them. As I said, information in this game is key. You don't, for example, when you are defending yourself, you have different moves you can take. There is a one move called a sweep. With sweep, right, basically what you are doing is while you're stepping back with one of your legs, you are sticking out your saber in front of you and making a sweeping motion back towards you. It might be horizontal, it might be diagonal, it might be vertical from down to up, right? Sweep is a move you can sort of lie to your opponent. The purpose of lying is to confuse your opponent and making sure that they don't know the full range of your attack or your blocking, right? It's similar to Slay the Spire. With sweeping, with sticking out your saber, you can always stick it out all the way as far as you can. You can always go back as far as you can, and there's no variation to it at all. If you are an advanced fencing player, you might be thinking, hey, Nicholas, this is basic stuff, right? But to someone who was just starting to learn this is amazing. Like when John showed us, like, how he was defending himself and none of us could get closer to him and being able to attack him. We were like, what is he doing? Why can't we get to him? And then I realized that, well, he actually told us, he showed us that whenever he's playing the move called sweeping, right? The first few times, he's not playing it at his full range. He's just doing, say, half of his full range. And that sort of set up the idea in your head as his opponent. You think that is his full range. And now you know his full range. You know how far he would go. So when there's a cooldown in between his move, right? He can't. It's kind of like the moves in what's this game called? Ring Fit Adventure. There's a cooldown. You can't really play this game. You can't really play your moves infinitely fast. When you sweep, right, you have to retract your saber and then prepare for the next sweep. And so when you see the gap, you could attack him. But this time, you try to attack him. You said to yourself, I know how far he's gonna go back, right? So you try a full attack, which is called an advanced launch, which can be quite fast, right? So here you are, you're doing your full attack, estimating that John would only be, say, a few steps away from you, and John can see that you are doing your full attack. And he lied to you before about his full range of motion. And now he can do a full backing away sweep, hitting your saber while being absolutely safe. And if he hits your saber, there's a rule in fencing: if your saber is being taken or being hit by the other player, the attack and defending positions automatically switch around. And now you are in a defensive position. But well, that's not really relevant to what I'm talking about. That's just like kind of a fun fact on the side. But yeah, fencing is super interesting. I think if you love strategy games, fencing would be a great sport to get into. You might really enjoy it. Yeah. And another thing that sort of intrigued me to talk about fencing, right, was I actually talked about how similar fencing and Slay the Spire is to my girlfriend on the day when we were driving to learn fencing, to learn like sweeping and all that John taught us that day. And afterwards, I talked to John about how fencing is a very strategic game and is quite similar to some strategic games like video games. And then we're talking about Slay the Spire, and it's like, yeah, and he said, yeah, it's quite similar. Apart from the fact that fencing is real time and Slay the Spire is turn based, right? That's just super, super cool. And I'm really happy that I went to learn fencing. I am super grateful that I found a great coach, John. And I'm also super grateful for my girlfriend who introduced me to fencing. Yes. Thank you very much, everyone. And thank you guys for listening to almost the end of this episode. Wow, I have been talkative the whole time, haven't I? Anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this episode. I hope I will see you next time. Let me know how you are going with your own regime or your own routine, and if this help yourself, motivate yourself, right? Cool, cool. I'll see you next time. Have a great one. Bye.